Hi guys, today we're going to take a look at some of the problems from the Unit 1 Rational Numbers Review sheet. And in this video we're going to take a look at problems 12 through 17, which are dealing with adding and subtracting integers. So let's look at the first problem. In problem 12 we have negative 17 minus 16. Now, when we're dealing with negative and positive numbers, the first thing we want to do is scan through to make sure that there is exactly one sign in front of each number. Here, there's a negative sign in front of 17, and there's a minus sign in front of 16. This minus sign indicates that 16 takes on a negative value. So now that we have exactly one sign in front of each number, we can go ahead and stack them such that the higher absolute value is on the top and the lower absolute value is on the bottom. Once we have them stacked, we can go ahead and, since the signs are the same, add the numbers together. So 7 and 6 will give me 13, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 will give me 3. Since both of these are negative, my overall answer will be negative. So the final answer for this problem is negative 33. In problem 13, we have negative 25 minus negative 47. Again, we're going to scan through the problem to make sure that there is exactly one sign in front of each number. There's a negative sign in front of 25, however, there are two signs in front of negative 47. We want to replace that one negative sign with a positive sign, and we can do this because negative times negative will give me a positive. So now this becomes positive 47. And really what we're doing is we're using the distributive property to get rid of that extra sign. Now we're going to bring down negative 25, and now we have exactly one sign in front of each number. Once we have that, we can go ahead and stack the numbers such that the higher number with the higher absolute value is on the top and the number with the lower absolute value is on the bottom. And since these signs are different, we can subtract these numbers. So 7 minus 5 will give me 2, and 4 minus 2 will give me 2. And then we keep the sign of the number with the higher absolute value. So since 47 has the higher absolute value, our overall answer will be positive. So my answer here is positive 22. In the next problem, we have 19 plus negative 31. Now again, we're going to scan across to make sure that we have exactly one sign in front of each number. Since there's no sign in front of the 19, I can assume that sign is positive, but we've got two signs in front of 31. So I know that a positive times a negative really is a negative, and so this becomes negative 31. And again, what we're really doing is we're using distributive property to get rid of that extra sign. Bring down the positive 19. Now that we have exactly one sign in front of each number, we can go ahead and stack them so that we have the higher number with the higher absolute value on the top and the lower absolute value on the bottom. Now we look at the signs. Since these signs are different, we're going to go ahead and subtract these numbers and keep the sign of the number with the higher absolute value. So let's go ahead and do that. Since I can't take 9 from 1, I'm going to need to borrow 1 from the 3. So this becomes 2 and this becomes 11. Now I can go ahead and subtract. 11 minus 9 will give me 2. 2 minus 1 will give me 1. And since my number that with the higher absolute value is negative, my overall answer will be negative 12. All right, in problem 15, we have negative 130 minus negative 90. We're perfectly fine here. There's one sign in front of 130. However, there are two signs in front of the 90, and we only want one sign. So negative times a negative will give me a positive, so I can replace those two negatives with one positive. So now this is really positive 90. Bring down the first term. And now we can go ahead and stack them, put the number with the higher absolute value on the top, lower absolute value on the bottom, and since the signs are different, we'll go ahead and subtract these numbers. 0 minus 0 is 0, and 13 minus 9 is 4. And since 130 has the higher absolute value, we'll keep the negative sign. So my answer here is negative 40. In problem 16, again, we're going to scan to make sure that there's one sign in front of each number. So there's no sign in front of the 245, so we'll assume that it's positive, but we've got two signs in front of 137. So negative times a negative will give me a positive and bring down the first term. Now that we've got one sign in front of each number, we can go ahead and stack them. So we'll put positive 245 on the top, positive 137 on the bottom. Since these signs are the same, we can go ahead and add up the numbers. So 5 and 7 gives me 12. Carry the 1. 4 and 3 gives me 7 plus 1 more, which is 8. And then 2 and 1 gives me 3. Since both of these are positive, my answer is positive. So positive 382 is the final answer. In this next problem, we have negative 345 plus negative 188. 345 has exactly one sign in front of it. However, 188 has two signs in front of it, and we want to take this down to just one sign. So positive times negative gives you negative. So this becomes negative 188 or minus 188. Bring down the first term. And now we can go ahead and stack them, putting the number with the higher absolute value on the top, lower absolute value on the bottom. And since these signs are the same, we can go ahead and add these numbers together. So 5 plus 8 will give me 13. Carry the 1. 8 and 4 gives me 12, and 12 plus 1 is 13. And then finally, 1 and 3 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. And since both of these numbers are negative, my overall answer will also be negative. Okay, so this concludes the first video on adding and subtracting with rational numbers. And in the next video, we'll complete problems 12 through, in the next video, we'll complete problems 18 through 22, which will cover some word problems with adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing with rational numbers. All right, see you then.